So this is a video about a Franken mower. It started off as a nice little Home Depot John Deere L108, I believe it was. It was a 108. And the first thing that started failing was the mowing deck. And this is really ugly. Ugly but functional. So the first thing to start breaking was all of this thin metal down in here they use to build these things. For the most part, it's been kept inside. This last winter I left it outside covered, but so it's a little rustier than it would normally be. That was the first thing to go. Then both, as you can see down here, is a sunken place where water, moisture loves to collect and eventually rusts out. It doesn't take too long to rust out, a couple years. So I welded a couple of plates and then remounted the blades and the spindle there onto the plates, and they've been good. Well, I mean, I bought this thing in 2005 and it's 2019, and I don't use it for a lawn. I use it for fields and areas that I've cut before, but definitely not a nice smooth lawn. To be honest, I kind of beat the thing, but I don't, like, you know, I'm mowing grass. I'm not like going over cliffs or jumping jumps or anything on it. So this year the belt started coming off and I realized that this has pulled up. So you can see the thickness of the metal here. You know, I guess it's a reasonable thickness, but it's not built to last long. And this thing was like $3 grand in 2005, roughly 2,500, $3 grand or something. But there's no reason this thing couldn't just last forever if it would just stop rusting. And mainly it's the thin metal. It's just not built to last long. But if you own a arc welder and know how to crudely weld like me, this is a bunch of years back and it's pretty ugly. The whole thing is pretty ugly, but these things were the next things to come off. So I welded some rebar around it, just using what I have on hand. It's not like I have a metal shop or anything. I'm not a welder, just a guy with a lawnmower. So this is the Franken mower deck. It's going on 20 years, and like I said, having a arc welder and being able to reinforce the areas that give way, you can keep this thing going a long time. There's no reason these things couldn't be built differently and better. I mean, for instance, there's no reason that this has to be a sunken in area that collects water. There's no reason these areas couldn't have a little more reinforcement and welded a little better than that. That is the original. You know, it's just tacked in place, basically. You know, thin metal to thin metal. It's just asking to come off. This must just be strain, you know, from a pulley goes on there, belt goes around like this. So, like most things, there's built-in obsolescence. There's built into these things, so. But it's kind of a personal challenge to just keep this thing going instead of spending $600 to buy a new one or just buy a new lawnmower. Most people, I think, would just buy a new lawnmower. Anyway, today I'm going to pound this back down and weld that. I'm going to strip off this paint and prime it. And I will bet you I will be able to make a video in 10 years showing the same deck. Anyway, that's my Franken mower deck. So with a few sound hits to the back of that, this is now where it should be. And after cleaning up, getting rid of some of that rust and loose paint, I'm going to go ahead and arc weld that into place. I got mowing to do. You could use a variety of tools. This is a $9, well, a $10 hand grinder here. Literally 10 bucks from Harbor Freight. This thing probably cost more than the tool. I've used this so much, it works great. So I'm just gonna sand some of this paint off and clean up this area around the weld before I weld it. I'm not done, but you get the idea. I'm just going to keep cleaning this up before I weld it. And also, once I clean up that area and weld it, I'm going to do this around the deck before I prime it. Of course, I forgot my welding mask, so I'm doing it with the ski goggles on, and it's definitely not even close to being enough, but somehow I see a big white spot every time I close my eyes. Yes, this is like, I'm not even going to insult rednecks by saying it's redneck welding or wet redneck anything, because it's worse than that. But I think I got it welded. So now after you've welded it, you can, I don't know if anybody, so after you've welded it, you can come along and chip off the, I don't even know what this is called, slag, flux, something, flux maybe. Nice. Chip that off. Brush it, clean it up, and prime it and paint it, and that puppy is not going to be coming up anytime soon. And here it is, another ugly weld, but it'll work. Frankenmore 2019.